All right, we are back on Bayou Time. Martin Folse here. We are joined by the Superintendent of Lafourche Parish Schools, Mr. Jarod Martin, and always good to see you. Good to have you here.
Great to be here. Thank you for letting us talk about Lafourche Parish.
Yeah, and of course, that summer flies by.
It does.
You don't get enough rest.
We don't.
And I know you have to work and do a lot of things during the summer, so you're probably different than most, but in your mind's always on, how can we make it better? What can we do different? What are some of the issues or concerns? Now that we're sort of separated from COVID for a while now, I'm knocking on every bit of wood I can knock on. What are you seeing now that you got your feet wet pretty good?
Yeah.
What would you like to see?
Well, you mentioned summer, and I know that you're a sports fan.
Mm-hmm.
My job and a lot of principals' jobs is probably closer to the general manager than to the player.
Mm-hmm.
And so the off season is our busy season. What we've been doing all summer is working on staffing and trying to get the right people in the right position. And that is a task into itself. And so that leads into your next question, which is, what do you like to get done and what are you seeing now that we're past COVID? But what we're seeing as lingering effects of what I believe to be related to COVID, or at least some of the federal government's response, is this labor shortage, which has just caused a tremendous strain on schools and school districts across the nation. There is a teacher shortage that is palatable, but there's also a general labor shortage that's making it even more complicated to run a school. We've got vacancies for custodial positions that have been vacant for months now. I've got one school in particular, Central Lafourche High School, that's got 7 custodians that were supposed to be assigned to that school. We currently employ only 3. And so when you're running 4 people short on a staff of 7, it has a palatable effect on your ability to get the building ready for the start of kids. And so we've been working feverishly to fill those vacancies. We've been working very difficult to advertise these positions and get in front of the right candidate, the right person that would be a good fit. And those are the things that are just keeping us real busy, not to mention recovering from all the damage that Hurricane Ida caused our physical infrastructure. So a lot of things happening in Lafourche Parish.
So let me ask you, like custodians and people of that nature, we know how important they are. We all knew our custodians by name at school.
That's right.
They're celebrities, really, when you break it down. Do they get benefits and all that too when they come on?
Absolutely. So our custodian positions, they're not the highest paying positions in the district, but it's definitely a salary where you can earn enough to make ends meet, and more importantly, get health insurance, retirement benefits, paid holidays and vacation as soon as you begin. So it's a very good work environment, particularly for somebody who maybe wants a second career after working hard in the oil and gas industry for many years, or doing something like working outdoor, doing lawn work is not something that you can do into your 50s, 60s, and 70s really well. So that's our target audience for these positions, that are a young person who just simply wants to make a career and one day have the benefit of having a retirement. So we have those things that we can offer as a school system, but what we don't have is this $67,000 or $80,000 a year paying job that some of our blue collar workers are fortunate enough in this area to go out and get. I don't begrudge anybody that has the ability to go to a shipyard and make that kind of money, but we can't compete with the private sector.
But you made a good point. If somebody's retired from a job and they hate sitting around at the house,
yes,
and they want to do something and be around people, perfect thing.
It would be a perfect fit. In fact, I can think of a few gentlemen that we've got on our staff that did just that. They worked 30 or 40 years at machine shops, at shipyards, and in the oil and gas industry, and now they want to slow down, but still have some extra income, not sit at home every day and watch TV, come and work in one of our schools and get an extra added benefit and potentially a second retirement.
And that's the perfect position for people who like to tinker.
Yes.
Because there's always stuff broken at a school.
There is.
So they can
Unfortunately,
have
there
their
is.
tool belt and get ready to go,
Absolutely.
for that matter. And let's talk about the teacher bonus
Yeah.
that y'all work so hard on.
Yeah, so we're very thankful to the community for supporting the tax referendum that we put forward. Archie and I came on this very show and promoted what would be the effect of getting that tax reform done, and we're really happy that our board adopted the salary structure that's a result of that tax reform effort, and it added a $4,000 increase to all of our teachers' salaries. So our teacher salaries went from $43,000 for starting teacher to $47,000 for a starting teacher. And I will point out that many of our teachers enter this profession with a degree in something else. And so if a person has a master's degree, as an example, in any field, their first year teaching in Lafourche Parish, their salary would be $51,000 a year. So you can be a 23 or 24-year-old young college graduate and have a job not only with the benefits like we spoke about as a custodian, but an extended vacation in the summer, the holidays, a retirement system, full health benefits, and a job that pays over $50,000 a year. We think it's competitive, and we're hoping it attracts a lot of people to this,
Besides
what is
the
a
sa-
very rewarding profession.
Yeah, besides the salary, what is the package worth? That sounds to me to be a good boost in your salary.
It is. And so the total package of what a person gets is the total cost to a school system for a teacher is more like $75,000 a year. You know, you have to compare that number to a private sector number. When you figure that if you go and work in private sector, that you have to make your own contributions to a 401k to have a retirement, that you're going to have to purchase health insurance, which is invariably going to cost more than what we can offer to you for, you'd probably have to make in that $60,000 or $70,000 a year range just to break even to what a teacher's salary is.
And I bet you, and we'll take a break and come back, I bet you they can write the fuel law if they go to school to teach.
I'm not sure.
I bet you they could check into it.
I bet they could
Yeah,
check with their
I bet you
CPA
they
and
could do
potentially
that.
would. Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be another good way to make a little money. All right, we'll take a little break. We'll be right back with the superintendent of Lafourche. Don't go away. Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems, modern technology and timeless caring. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights. All right, we are back with the superintendent of Lafourche Parish, Mr. Jarod Martin. We've been talking about a lot of different things, but how about a little update on Golden Meadow, if we could, the middle school?
Yeah, absolutely. So since Hurricane Ida, the students of Golden Meadow Middle School have been at the old campus of Golden Meadow Upper Elementary School. So they've been completely displaced since the storm. The two-story building behind the historic structure was really badly damaged. But we were able to get a new roof on the historic structure, and we're very near a decision point for the two-story section of the campus behind the historic structure. Interestingly, we have to present to FEMA all of the different ways that you can remediate, that you can fix, that you can rebuild the middle school. And FEMA usually wants you to take the least cost approach to getting the school fixed. Our architects have looked at it, and they have arrived at what would potentially be a least cost fix of putting a flood wall around the most damaged building, which would be a steel structured flood wall, and then just repairing the existing structure. That is not a path that I'm going to recommend to this board. We're actually at a decision point right now where we're about to make a recommendation to the board. And that recommendation will likely be to completely destroy the very heavily damaged two-story structure, not put a flood wall, build up the elevation to the top of where this flood wall would be, and build a brand new structure.
Wouldn't a
at
flood
that-
wall be astronomically high to build?
They're saying it would only have to be 3 feet high, which doesn't make any sense. Not only would the height of the wall not make sense to us, but you've got to have a pumping system to get the water out of the wall structure. You've got to have the ability to put gates in this structure at every entrance and exit of the building. While it's, I'm sure, engineeringly possible, it's not a path that I feel comfortable recommending. So we also are probably not going to get an answer from FEMA on what they're going to authorize us to do for potentially 6 or 8 more months.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to wait 6 or 8 more months, because that would delay the opening of that school back on its original campus for at least another school year.
Isn't that the downfall of like being a superintendent, especially people that are married to the school? they went to, or they may have gone to a school and their kids are just starting and they're sort of attached
Absolutely.
to a building. But when you look at it, you know, in numbers, and you can not build a flood wall and then bring in the dirt and build a whole new school and bring them into the new era with the new school, it is a tough decision because the people in the past wanted to pass, but sometimes you have to move forward.
100%. But I want to be clear, and I don't think that I was based on what you just said, because that's the historic structure that everybody, when you close your eyes and imagine Golden Meadow Middle School, that green metal roof building, that is not being destroyed.
Oh, okay.
No matter what.
Glad we clarified.
Yeah, I'm glad we did as well.
Yeah.
That section of the school is actually registered as a National Historic Site. The roof is already repaired on that. The inside of that building is going to look exactly the way it did before Ida. There is another two-story structure disconnected from that building behind it. It is that structure that we're likely going to have to demolish and rebuild at above floodplain. But that is decisions that are going to be made in the next couple of weeks, so that we can, with any luck, be in that building sooner rather than later. And the exact same process is happening at Bayou Buff Elementary School out in Kramer. Interestingly, Bayou Buff Elementary School it's called the Little Red Schoolhouse.
We did a story on it years back.
So you've seen it.
Yeah.
Historic. People knew how to build a school 100 years ago.
Yeah.
The Little Red Schoolhouse sustained no damage, didn't flood, is completely fine.
Right.
But the structure that was in front of it, which was a single story, the cafeteria, the front office, and the building on side of it got devastated. That community's children, they've been having to get on a bus from Kramer and go all the way to Chack Bay for pre-K through fifth grade. So those kids are now at the old Chack Bay Elementary School, and the exact same decision relative to the future of that building is about to be made. We are about to make the decision. Look, we know what's in the best interest of this community. We know what works in South Louisiana. We're going to build the foundation up above floodplain, and we're going to build a new modern building that can withstand a hurricane on top of it. That way it doesn't flood, and it's up to the building codes and the modern ADA and other life-saving codes that are required in all of these new buildings. So we're excited about the future, but we're hoping that the community can be patient with us as we navigate these very complicated waters of FEMA now that the flood is over.
What about a minute left? Isn't that the fun part about being a superintendent? You get to build new buildings and crunch all these numbers, and I know it's a pain in the butt sometimes, but it's what you do, huh?
It is what you do. And I think anybody who enjoys this job, and I do, enjoys problem solving, and they love really just being a service to the community. And this job allows me to do both. And so I enjoy problem solving. I enjoy seeing where we are now and how we get to a better place. One of the most proud moments of my career was being able to open South Lafourche High School in middle October after a near Category 5 storm had just devastated it just 6 weeks earlier. So the ability to be part of a team that can make that happen is a good one. It's a good feeling.
And you brought that military background, so that's a good background to have sometimes.
It's a very good training ground for this job. Yes, sir.
And once again, thank you for your service.
And
We
thank
always
you.
appreciate it. And your
Thank you.
continued service as superintendent.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Jarod. Good to see you again. All right, there you have it, the superintendent of Lafourche Parish. And we just thought we'd bring you all the good news. And I'm glad he clarified that about Golden Meadow Middle School. So no room to start here in the desk of Bayou time. We'll take a break. We'll see you a little bit around the corner.